So hi, we are in Lisbon. My name is Joana Fernandes. I work in the Lisbon Municipal Energy Agency. We are a private non-profit organization that works for the sustainable development of Lisbon. I'm here now to present you the case of the Baixa Pombalina solar potential map. This is a project we developed within the Prosto project, also a project supported by the Intelligent Energy program. It's basically about solar thermal obligations, and our idea here was to address an area which is a cultural heritage area, so it's exempt for complying with the national obligation for installing solar thermal systems in every new building or every refurbishment that goes above a certain level of intervention. So for those that have been in Baixa, you already know it's a very nice area, but it's also a very disqualified area. It's a cultural heritage area, but it lacks some dynamics and it's very degraded, and it's urgent to promote refurbishment and to bring new people to this area. That's why the Lisbon Municipality developed a safeguard program to promote or to define the requalification of this area. Within this plan, Lisbon addressed the municipality and IGESPAR, which is the institute responsible for managing all the cultural patrimony in Portugal, with this proposal to study the solar potential. So the idea was to evaluate all the buildings covered. So we have identified in all of the buildings which is the solar potential. I can just show you. This is the final map that we have defined. So we can see in red that's the south-oriented roof covers, yellow, green, east and west, and blue, it's the north areas. And what we have found out here is that more than 100,000 square meters are available to install solar thermal. And actually, using solely 17% of this area, it's possible to cover 70% of the hot water needs in this area, considering the requalification plans that we have for this area. So the idea here is that if you want to bring new people to the Baixa, we have to also provide these buildings with the same level, or at least with a better level of comfort and energy performance than those that we have available in new buildings. So this was the main idea. Bring to the Baixa also some of the technologies that we now hear so much talk about. Solar thermal is one of them, and it can play a really important role in improving the energy performance of our building. The fact of being a cultural heritage should not hinder this kind of intervention, because there are very nice integration solutions available nowadays, and we still have to push the market to offer new solutions for integration, and that's what we want to do here in Baixa. In our refurbishment program, Lisbon has developed 4 manuals on the opportunities for the energy refurbishment of buildings. The idea is to understand which are the opportunities in terms of the national framework, in terms of the energy certification program, also the targets and incentives that we have for refurbishments. We can see here that we have a reduction of approximately 50% in terms of our energy bill for this building. And in terms of energy consumption, the reality shows that the consumption prior to the intervention was 50% higher. Well, we had the municipal support, and it was actually quite good and quite important, quite decisive process for this to be accomplished. And also IGESPAR support. They were very supportive. We didn't expect that kind of support from them, but they actually understand that it's really a requirement to improve this building's energy performance, because this area we don't have, well, in terms of traffic it's very complicated. Most of the buildings don't have lifts. In terms of insulation, some of them are very poor, and it's urgent to bring new solutions without damaging the cultural heritage it represents. So solar allows it to enhance this patrimony in terms of what renewables can bring into this area. What went wrong? People sometimes are very contradictory and resistant to change. So some people are obviously against touching whatever its cultural heritage, but the question that we want this cultural heritage to stay here far longer than we are going to stay. And if we want to do that, we need to work on them on the most sustainable way as possible. Of course, working with people is essential. We want to hear, and we have been hearing, people's opinions on how to integrate. And the solutions for integration also came up with architects' help on how we should integrate this, and that's why we also want the market to respond to this challenge. We don't want it to be binding, we want new solutions to appear on how you can reconcile these both technologies and cultural heritage. I see a very sustainable future. It has to be. In terms of integrating renewables, I think the new recent directive, the recast of the European Buildings Directive, it's the way forward. I mean, we have to move to almost or near zero energy buildings. And the challenge, it's not only in new buildings, but of course that's an easier challenge. But the challenge is, how do we make the existing patrimony viable in terms of energy performance, in terms of the environmental performance that we need this built patrimony to have. So I think more and more we are working on how to refurbish on a building in terms of its energy performance. We have been working in this sense. Very viable, technical and economical viable answers are possible. The prices of energy are still rising, and they will rise, especially in Portugal, because we are an energy-dependent country, more than 70%. So we really have to work with our tools, with our resources, and solar is definitely one of our resources. Lisbon is the European capital with the highest number of hours of sun. So we have to use this resource as a profit and actually make it work in our territory.